Alrighty then. Am I live? I should be live. I'm just gonna chat. Health is good. Live on fence. Airsoft GA. Should be good. It's still upcoming event. And it's not ready yet. Or is my live? Am I live? Yo, am I live? Someone comment. Someone comment. Am I live? Yes. I should be live, right, guys? Giggity. Whoa. Giggity, 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 giggity. Giggity, 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 giggity. Copy that. I see you too, Max Friedman. Okay. What up? I'm gonna answer some of your questions before Bob and whoever else is gonna come in here. Where's the camera? Camera's right there. Okay. The Florida Airsoft group, you asked me what you should do. Magic Box Miracle for Miracle Barrel. It's not really internal upgrade. Magic Box Miracle Barrel with Marble Blue bucking, or no, excuse me, modified Ryu Soku soft bucking. Depends on the FPS though. If you're going above 400, use the black bucking. Use the, or if below that, use the gray soft bucking. Go hard, ride hard Airsoft. Mark was a good lightweight loadout. I personally, for that, would just run a belt rig, maybe an HSGOI one, or the Condor belt rig with some pouches on it, or simply run a Banshee. It's a small plate carrier. It's really nice. Shout out to you, Anthony Berardis. Your YouTube channel is Desert Spartan. Calling to music. I don't understand what you're saying. Everett Saldana, welcome to the live show. At CyberGoth665, what I would do is get the modified wire harness with, or use existing wire harness plus Magic Box high conductivity wires. They're a lot thicker than the modified low resistance wires, or they're a lot thicker than the Lonex wires, so they're pretty good. Max Friedman, I see you too. Okay, root 'em, toot 'em, point and shoot 'em, no worries. Can I see that shirt? Philippines, Manila. Wow, it's delayed. Giggity goo. Yeah, you're live. Cool, fist bump. Anthony my favorite airsoft gun would be my custom Scar Mark 16. Why? Because it's awesome. And it shoots 400 FPS right on the dot with a ±1 deviation. So it's like 398, 399, 400, 399, 400. It's usually 400 dot, especially SE. No one believes in SE, but when they chrono it, it's 400 FPS. So yeah. Anyway, reading to a point shoot. The one-day backpacks for, oh, your question is real 2-point shield backpacks for JPC that won't be too big. I have a Source backpack, one-day backpack, I believe, or assault pack, and those are cool. They're pretty small, and you can make it smaller because they have the adjustment straps on the side and the waistband, as well as it has the sternum strap. Lewis Mail Hot, how can you reach around 30 BBS with stock gears level 1 LiPo? Tianli GT 40,000 motor. Simple. And shim the gears. I was just getting you piston though because pistons always wear out. Get Magic Box piston. Those are very, very strong for level 1. 20C, you get 30 BBS bees per second easily. Pro and Hobble on the VSD 416. I haven't tried it yet. It might fit just fine.
Bob's on his way.
Bob's on his way, according to Bill. Everett Saldana, you can get a shout out. Bill's gonna either stay outside or he's gonna hop in. He's gonna hop in.
I'm gonna scoot in.
Angle grip or ergo grip? Okay, ergo grip is a very broad term. So Ergo is a company that makes different types of grips. So a little more specific there. The Frodo Original, yes, that's a cool hat. Recommended internal upgrades for WE M4 CQB. If that's the blowback version, I'm not quite sure. Non-blowback, you can just use gears and pistons and whatnot. Opinions on AR-57 is a pretty cool, unique looking gun and performs pretty damn well. Gilberto Ortega, what's a good MOSFET? A good MOSFET would be the Burst Wizard MOSFET, the 1, 2, and version 3. What mags represent? What mags fit a VST 416? Bob is going to jump in this bit. Okay, in a few minutes, excuse me. What mags fit a VST 416? Any M4, M16, or excuse me, most M4, M16 magazines will fit that. Max Friedman, I would suggest getting angle 4 grip.
Angle 4 grips are awesome.
Yes, it actually all depends on your shoes, on how you. Unreal AR makes a difference. For Airsoft also makes a difference as well, since if you're transitioning and trying using one or the other as a training rifle. It's all up to you, really. Last Stand Airsoft, what gear do you recommend for a beginner? For those of you on the budget, we do suggest the Lancer Tactical gear, or we do have the Griffin Golem chest rig and Dragon Spine belt system, and the Airy rifle case. So always keep guns in rifle case as much as possible. Shout out to Paradise Panda, indeed. By the way, question. Okay. Third original WE-Tech GBB MR M4. That is a good question. You might be able to use the NPAS system to increase or decrease the FPS, but I'm not sure as for the internals. Foxtrot Mitch, shout out, approved. I want to.
Foxtrot Mitch HD.
Yes.
I've seen it on the live show quite a few times.
Yeah. Scott K, I have an Echo 1 AR-57. I want to increase the range, internal and external. What upgrades you guys for increase range plan for? Scott K, like I always tell everyone else, Magic Box, Miracle Barrel, and the Modified Flat Hop. Those will work extremely well. If you want to go more in depth, if you're not really caring about your budget, you could change your internal components such as the compression assembly, which includes piston head, cylinder head, and air nozzle. Why? Because if you get better compression throughout the gun, you get more consistent velocity output. Therefore, you're getting more range and accuracy.
Proof. Mark did it to my gun, and it's great.
Yeah, he has like a minus 3 different variation out of the 15 that wasn't for. I tried doesn't feel first Macro Houdini. I can't remember. I'm not sure what magazine he's using. Let me know. I'll be jumping on a bit to be on the message thing. But yeah, I will see you guys in a bit. Like the 511. 511's cool. I prefer Truce Pick. Bob's jumping in.
Good afternoon, Bob.
Jumping in. Good afternoon, Bill.
Questions about the murder.
What?
I'm gonna go on a quick break. Let me get a question about the murder oil.
What?
Let me know if you have any questions about the new murder oil.
Okay.
All right. Welcome to the GI Live Show at 4:30 p.m. on June 17th, 2014. In case you guys forgot what year it was. Now, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about, first of which is that we should have a Krytac gun flying in sometime in the very near future. But also I want to make a mention that we have our big summer sale coming up. Now, in case you guys don't know anything about that, you can check our video where I actually look like a thumb on the thumbnail. But, yeah, someone commented, like, yeah, I do look like a thumb on that.
You did look like a thumb.
Yeah, I really did. Okay, so our big summer sale is coming up on June 21st. It starts at 10 a.m. And what's cool about that, actually, I should say the address first. It's going to be at our West Coast walk-in store. That's at 21077 Commerce Point Drive, Walnut, California, 91789. Now, the cool thing about that is that, you know, right now we have a coupon code of SAVE14 to save 14% off, in addition to the Airsoft GI Trifecta, where you get 2% rewards back as long as you have an account. Now, at that big summer sale, you're going to have 23% off. So if you're gearing up for an op, for just a regular day game or some team practice, you're going to want to go to that summer sale and get that 23% off discount. But not only that, we're going to be giving away $10,000 in, well, I don't want to say prizes, more like giveaways. So $10,000 worth of that stuff. We're going to have about let's see, it says multiple thousands of GI bucks. Make it rain, question mark? Yeah, I guess so.
We'll make it rain on you.
Yeah. So if you're in the line, there's a chance you can pull out GI bucks out of the rabbit hole, which we're going to be walking up and down the line, letting people have a chance at that. We're also going to be having raffles. Basically, anyone who shows up to our big summer sale is going to get at least one raffle ticket, but for every $100 you spend at the big summer sale, you're going to get an additional raffle ticket. Now, the first 10 households in line, are going to get a free AEG. Now, we did households so that, you know, folks didn't, you know, show up with, let's say, you know, everybody in the family, and they'd all get AEGs. We want to make it fair for everyone staying in line, or for the folks that came the night before and waited, or the morning of. So the 10 first households in line will get a free AEG, and we're going to have some insane doorbuster deals the day of. We can't advertise them right now. We are going to have, like I mentioned, end of the day raffle, and we are going to have boots from Let's see, we're going to have G&G, KWA, Condor, NC Star, Z-Shot, and Spartan Imports, and if I didn't say it, PTS. Now, we're also going to have some very interesting personalities like myself. I will be there. Bill will also be there, hopefully with his Russian hat. We're also going to have Level Cap from Level Cap Gaming. If you guys haven't met him, he's one of the most down-to-earth dudes that is ridiculously famous online for his gaming skills. And like I mentioned before, he's very down-to-earth and honestly just a genuinely awesome person.
Very nice fellow.
Yeah, surprisingly so. We're also going to have Greg Wong, Spartan 1117 GW. He's going to be at the PTS booth. I have no doubt he'll be wearing some of his kit. He is want to do that. And in fact, actually, most of us in the marketing department are going to have some of our kit there for you to check out at the marketing booth. Now, if you come over to the marketing booth, we're going to be right next to the firing range, and we're going to let you test fire some guns that have yet to make it to the market. For example, we're probably going to have a Krytac gun there for you to test out. It's probably going to be the Krytac CRB. Probably.
Possibly. Probably. I don't know.
Well, realistically, yes. So it's going to be there for you guys to test out. It's looking like we should have the Tippmann M4 there as well, which is another really cool gun because you can convert that from both CO2 over to HPA. And not only that, but the biggest hang-up for me on Polar Stars is that you fire a Polar Star, there's no real feedback. But with the Tippmann M4, though, I mean, you can hook it up to an HPA line. You're going to have quite a bit of blowback. In fact, I would say it rivals, but does not get all the way up to the amount of blowback on an LM4. So you get that snap feature as well as the feedback on the gun while having the extra versatility of being able to convert it from CO2 to HPA. And CO2 is much more widely available all across the United States. In addition to that, we're going to have a dunk tank where yours truly, Bob the Axeman, will be able to be dunked into a pool of water. And
I think I'll bring some cash, try and get you.
I appreciate that. There were actually some folks the last time, I think it was our summer sale 2 years ago where we had the dunk tank, and one dude I think blew about $50 just trying to hit the darn thing, and he missed.
I think I was there that year. I think I remember that.
I felt bad for him. I just ended up letting him go up and just hit the button to get me dunked in the water. But the cool thing about the dunk tank for this year is that the proceeds are going to go to Warfighter Airsoft. And if you're not familiar with them, as well as Chris Bast, who is the head of Warfighter Airsoft, is that they help veterans who are getting out of the service get into Airsoft as a way of working themselves back into the civilian, the civilian arena. A lot of folks do have PTSD and find Airsoft is a much easier way to, get back into being a civilian than otherwise. And in fact, at Operation Red Storm 2, which is down here in SoCal, we found out that the VA was actually sending folks to Airsoft as a way to get acclimated back to civilian life. So it's a great organization. I highly suggest checking out Warfighter Airsoft, and Chris Bass is a nice guy. He's nice enough to be able to volunteer for the dunk tank as well. So he will be in there getting dunked in the water as well as me, and we do have a viewing port, so if you want to take a video with us underwater, that is highly doable.
I gotta take off the hat. Now it's getting a little warm.
Oh, come on now.
Hey, 90% of your body heat is lost through your ears, and it's a little warm in here.
Through your ears?
Yeah, your ears act as a natural radiator.
I think it's 80% out of your head, but I could be wrong.
Look at this thing. Look at that. Yeah, that covers the majority of your head.
Okay. We're also going to have Mama Musubi there for food, so I highly suggest checking that out. That's really good musubi. And if you've never had musubi, another reason to come to this sale because you can check it out and try it out.
Which I'm looking forward to. I've never had musubi.
I am judging you.
Sorry.
Get out. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so that is really interesting. And also, in case you guys were wondering, or in case you guys were curious about new events coming up, we do have Assault on Antioch, which is coming up on July 12th and 13th, which is going to be a GamePod Combat Zone in Antioch, California. So that's a northern game, a Northern California game. It should be really fun because we've done games like this before, especially our Tim vs. Bob series, where the actions of the players will affect how the gameplay goes for the rest of the day. And not only that, but the events on the first day are going to affect how the second day starts. So basically, each individual player is going to be more than important. They're going to be crucial in their aspects and how they affect the battlefield. So check that out. I believe it's $50 per day, but if you buy both tickets together, it's $90, so you do save $10. And also, there's a camping ticket where we've worked with GamePod Combat Zone to make it available to camp on the airsoft field after the first day of gameplay is over. And what that does is it saves you money on hotels. It's one thing that we and the GamePod staff notice, that people pay enough for the game itself, and then it's just an added cost having to get a hotel and other food arrangements. So the $20 camping ticket is going to cover Dinner after the first night, it's going to cover, being able to stay on the field and hang out and just shoot the crap with everyone else who is hanging out there as well. It's also going to cover breakfast the morning of the next day, so you're going to be completely taken care of. I would highly suggest, if you do get that camping ticket, to bring a board game or other stuff to kind of keep yourself busy if you're just hanging out in the field that night, or maybe just go by and say hi to someone else, make some new friends, have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, hell, $20 is like more than it costs for. Or, well, not more. Is less than what it costs generally for like a meal for me.
Yeah, well,
if I go to a restaurant, I gotta have an appetizer, gotta have the main course, gotta have a soda, gotta have the dessert.
I remember going to this Mexican restaurant across from my college, and I remember, like, at the time, well, I still love Shirley Temples, but I remember, like, the Shirley Temples themselves were so expensive they wouldn't refill it. So I remember one dinner I spent more on Shirley Temples than I did on my meal, and it was kind of embarrassing, but at the same time delicious.
It happens.
All right, sweet. All right, let's see what else we got. Actually, let's answer some questions for a little bit. See if there's anything. Turtle King James, will there ever be another TVB? There is some information on Tim vs. Bob, which I cannot disclose because it's currently classified. Rest assured, though, when we can release that information to the public, we will. But plans are in motion. That's all I'll say. Let's see if there are any other questions worth answering right now. That does not look like English.
I don't think it was. Yeah, it's not English.
I just had a Bertgasm. It's everywhere. I don't know what that means. I do not know what that means. All right, well, why don't I at least get into a new product while we're on this? There's actually something that came out of Spartan Imports, which I thought was really interesting. This is a Canine Spartan Imports harness. Now, if you guys have ever seen, let's say, dogs in the field with the United States Armed Forces, you'll know that they generally have a harness on, and that's for a variety of reasons. One, so they can be picked up, one, so they can be handled without any issue, and one, so that they can be securely held by the canine companion. So as you can, well, you probably can't see this, but on this harness, there's a couple different, oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh, here we go. There's a handle right here, and there's also a piece of metal you can hook into perhaps like a sling or other sort of attachment device. There's a lot of Velcro in here in case you want to put name tapes or anything else. Yeah, there's basically a variety of options for carrying or handling a canine using this, and I think it's interesting we got these in because we actually had some Condor ID tags that were shaped like, we don't still have them here, but no, they're not there. Some Condor ID tags that were shaped like Cyrats, essentially body armor, and I made a joke like, hey, I'll bet you could like actually put that on Chunky, which is
I know you guys had them at SHOT Show,
the ID
right?
holder, yeah. I made a joke that we could put it on Chunky, which is our CFO's dog, and it actually fit really well on him. It looked like the dog was wearing a plate carrier, so it could feasibly actually fit on a cat as well. But anyway, we now have these new canine harnesses from Spartan Imports. They come in a variety of colors, including black and I believe OD. I'm not sure multicam, but I'll check that out later. So if you're looking for these, make sure to check out airsoftgi.com in the coming days because they'll be up there very,
I think it's actually up right now.
It may be up right now.
It might be up right now.
Yeah.
But I think I might have to pick one up for my cat.
The canine harness?
Yeah, to get the extra small one for my cat.
Do they have? I don't know if we have.
Did you not see the Spartan picture? The people at Spartan put it on 2 cats. They said, "Oh, it fits cats too."
One, like 2 separate cats, not.
Yeah, 2 separate cats. They each had their own vest.
All right, that makes it'd be weird.
It'd be weird.
It'd be like a 3-legged race, be more like a 9-legged. I don't know. Yeah. All right, let's see. Hey, Bob, can me and my brother get a shout-out? We are from Denmark and made a little team called Mag Airsoft and made a few montages. It would mean a lot if we get a shout-out. Absolutely. MilitaryGames.com. You're going to get a shout-out, and I believe your team is supposed to get the shout-out. Mag Airsoft. Shout-out approved. All right, sweet. All righty. Let's see here.
Someone likes your shirt.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I actually had an audition today, so I went after that and had it dressed really Midwestern-y or nice, which is what I thought it was. So yeah, I'm wearing this cool shirt. My mommy bought it for me for Christmas.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
I never spend money on like nice clothes, so yeah.
A lot of my shirts are free, so like my T-shirts.
Touche.
Somehow got them free.
Touche, sir. Touche. All right, Daniel Courtleven. What do you recommend, gas or CO2? Which is more expensive? That's a tough one because if you are playing in a location where it's normally hard to get a green gas, then CO2 is obviously going to be a better option. Or if you're playing in colder weather than would normally support gas guns, CO2 is again going to be a better option. I prefer gas guns just because I mostly run KWA gas pistols, and I find those to be superior to most airsoft guns or most sidearms on the market. There are very affordable options for gas that we do sell on our website, like the KJW guns, but I find that if you spend a little bit extra money, you're going to be much more happy with the product and the results you get from a KWA gas pistol. That said, I also really like using CO2 pistols, such as the Elite Force 1911, or more specifically, the Elite Force TAC 1911 or 1911 TAC. It's a two-tone gun, has a rail on the bottom, and uses CO2 to propel BBs outward. It also shoots just under 400 feet per second. So I usually take the Elite Force 1911 out to outdoor games or out to games where there's a 400 feet per second limit, because it means you're going to be able to reach out and touch someone much more easily with the Elite Force 1911 than with a sidearm that is shooting below 350 feet per second. Bill, what are your thoughts on that?
I think a lot of it actually comes down to how much do you shoot. For me personally, a green gas, I mean my gun's AEG, so all I have is that's gas blowback as my pistol. So that being said, mine is a green gas one because I don't really shoot it that often. I mean, you have to think every time you go and play, if you have to put in a CO2 cartridge and then you never end up shooting the thing, you just wasted the CO2 cartridge. Because, I mean, I wouldn't really recommend leaving it in there for a long period of time. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts. You think you can leave CO2 cartridge in for a long time? You think it's probably a bad idea? I feel like it's probably a bad idea.
I mean, I generally don't, just because I try and go through my gear almost every time when I'm done with an op. Sometimes I forget, or I'm lazy, or I'm tired, or all of the above. But yeah. I do find CO2 cartridges to be very affordable when compared to buying a lot of green gas, because CO2 cartridges are essentially, depending on where you're getting them or how many you're buying, more likely, they're around like 50 cents per cartridge. So a pretty good deal considering how much green gas you often need to fill up something like an LM4 mag. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But for a pistol mag, it's not as much, but you are using one CO2 cartridge per pistol mag. Oh, burpee. So yeah, I mean, a lot of it depends on, let's say if you're playing outdoor with 400 feet per second limit, it might be better to get the Elite Force 1911 because that conforms that limit. If you're in an area where it's hard to get green gas, CO2 pistol is going to be better for you. But yeah, so it's really up to each person's preference, but those are my thoughts on it. Those are Bill's thoughts on it. Bill's thoughts on it. We're going to move on. Let's see if we got any more questions worth answering. Doobie-doobie-doo. Okay. All right, this is a good one. Davis Mundi, or Mundy. Sorry if I screwed up your name. Bob, what do you think of the new Polar Star coming out, and will you ever run a Polar Star? I would run a Polar Star under certain circumstances. I've heard that I believe it's called Project X, which the Polar Star folks themselves have told me about. It's supposed to be the middle ground of having, blowback while at the same time having an HPA lineup. At that point, if that was the setup, then yeah, I'd really consider running a Polar Star, because that's basically my main problem, or my main issue with it, personal issue with it, is that, I don't feel like I'm holding a gun. There's no feedback. But Polar Stars are incredibly effective, and they're very reliable. You can tweak the rate of fire, you can tweak the FPS. It's a really great setup that I think is pretty cool and very effective. I just don't personally find it as enjoyable as my LM4. What are your thoughts, Bill?
Personally, the HPA system and stuff, I like the concept of it, but the problem I don't like is that you have to carry around the tank on your back. If they found a way where you were able to put it in, let's say, the full stock of an M16, and you have enough air for the entire day, then yeah, it's more of the fact that I don't like having to carry around the tank, and the fact that there is no feedback with it. I know I run an AEG, which doesn't have any recoil or anything to it, but
it does have some feedback.
It does have a little bit, so I know it's firing. I've shot some friends' Polar Stars, and they're nice. They're very well-tuned machines, but it's just not really my cup of tea. They're good for really two things I've found: high rate of fire setups, and if you're trying to kind of do a DMR thing. I feel like those are really the only two. If you're trying to go out as I guess it'd be like a rifleman kind of role, I feel like they're not really meant for that. They're meant for maybe a saw gunner, or maybe for a DMR kind of setup. But I mean, they're nice, but not really my cup of tea.
Thank you for the candy drop, Frank. I actually want to answer a question I saw a gentleman post. There we go. Andre Hakimian. Hey Bob! Exclamation mark. I'm not sure what I should buy. The Ares Amoeba M4 carbine or the KWA CQR Mod 1. That is a tough decision. I do like the Ares M4 Amoeba carbine because it's got a couple features on it that are really cool. I mean, I especially like, and this may be really not that important to some people, but I do like the enlarged magazine release. It's pretty cool. It's easier to hit in the thick of things, and if you're fumbling around, it's, like I said, it's going to be much easier to deal with. However, I would say overall, if you're just getting into airsoft, or if you want something you're not going to have that many, I guess if you want something you're not going to have to deal with internally right out of the box, or things you're not going to have to worry about, I guess, I would get the KWA CQR Mod 1. I just don't like wanting to go in and work on stuff internally right away. I'd rather like play around with it first and see what's going on. So that's why I like the KWA CQRs, is that right out of the box I know I'm going to have a great time and not have any issues or not have any things I'm going to want to change right away. So I would highly suggest the KWA CQR Mod 1. And not only that, we actually have a couple packages available for that where you can get some tactical gear or a bunch of extra mags or both for just, I think, 15 or 25 bucks more. One of our deals, you get the Griffin Golden Chest Rig, the Griffin Dragon Spine Belt System, as well as 7 magazines. That's awesome for 25 bucks extra. Yeah, because normally just the tactical gear in itself is like 30 bucks put together. Then you got 6 other magazines that come with it, so it's pretty dope. Now I do want to go over a little bit, just I guess a teaser of what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the show. We did talk about video game loadouts, and I want to discuss a little bit about the loadouts, or at least the classes for Battlefield Hardline, which, if any of you have kept up on the onlines or with Level Cap at all, you'll know that there are some. There's a new Battlefield game that is scheduled to come out, I believe, sometime before the end of the year. I'm not exactly sure.
I think it's kind of slated more for like holiday season.
Yeah, probably November. Yeah. So Battlefield Hardline is going to be more law enforcement versus criminals, whereas obviously Battlefield 4 was, I believe it was Russians, Chinese, Americans, and so on. Actually, I believe those are the 3 roles. Yeah, those are the 3. But yeah, so this is going to be a completely different take on it, and I believe it's going to be based right here in Los Angeles, which is really cool. You'll be able to do battle on like 8th and Hope Street or any other streets around downtown or even around LA. So that's going to be really cool, especially for this guy.
Oh yeah, you went to school right around there.
I went to school.
Well, you were it's kind of near LA. I mean, more on the coast.
Yeah, no, it was in Loyola Marymount University is in Westchester, so that was definitely over by Manhattan Beach and a lot of the coastal towns. But I have. Good work, Frank. That segues pretty well into the next topic, which is the fact that we do have a Krytac gun here. What gun is it? Well, it's the Krytac CRB. Let's check this bad boy out. Oh, I thought you were going to say boo. I was like, get out!
No, say boo, saying boom.
Well, you got to get to the point first. All right, well, I hope you guys like the look of this. We've got Keymod style rail, and this is actually traded with Defiance trademarks, which is pretty dope. Now, Defiance, if you guys don't know already, is part of the Chris Group. Defiance makes a variety of products, and as you can see here also, this was done in Virginia Beach, USA. Dope! All right, now, I want to hear your thoughts on this, Bill, because you have had a chance to fire this.
It's rock solid. Like, I mean, if I have to pick one phrase for it, rock solid is it. This thing has, out of the box, probably the best range and accuracy of any gun that I've ever had the chance to shoot. The rate of fire is ridiculous with an 11-1. It's just one of those. I'm honestly almost at a loss of words for it. It's such a high quality rifle. Like, out of the box, you're not gonna have to do anything to it.
I will say that right out of the box, I mean, the first thing I noticed, because I'm a stickler for externals, is that the finish on this thing looks exquisite.
Yes.
I am really happy with the finish that they put on this, especially if you're going to be using this for any sort of movie productions. That's the background I came with when I got here at Airsoft Giant. This thing is going to work great for any sort of movie productions, and the fact that you have this cool stock that comes on here, right off the back is, another nice factor, because I feel like it's the midway between crane stock and other stocks in the market. It's really comfortable. The butt pad is seemingly made out of rubber. It's really easy to use, at the very least, 6-position stock. And you do have sling mounting points on the left and right side of the rear of the receiver. You do have a removable front and rear iron sight, and the rear is adjustable as well as seemingly the front. And as previously mentioned, you do have a key mod style rail. You do have a functional charging handle and bolt release, which is nice. And you do have the nice badass Krytac logo here on the left side of the receiver. I believe that is a Kraken.
Release the Kraken.
Release the Kraken. So overall, really good gun. Obviously, it's not going to come with a black flash hider. This was just for movie purposes, which is what the Krytac folks were using it previously. This is going to be sold with an orange tip. But yeah, this thing looks amazing. And like Bill said previously, I mean, I'm going to have to agree with him in that when I came into work that day that we got this in, I was a little fuzzy, so the review that we talked about, I was a little just off my kilter, but when I went out to go shoot this thing, we didn't have any targets set up, but I remember the bushes we were shooting at were like 180 feet away. 180 feet. And the grouping was exceptional. The range was stupidly awesome. So right out of the box, you're going to get something that's really solid. And also, one thing that Krytac, or a variety of things that Krytac has done, which is different from other manufacturers, they've included so many different cool features in the gearbox. They basically picked and chosen what they would want to have in the gearbox themselves, and they've added that in there. Now, what's great about the folks at Krytac is that the vast majority of them have not only been playing, they've been playing for a long time. So they know all the features that they would want to have through years and years, perhaps even decades of experience. So they've incorporated all of that into one gearbox, and from just the short time speaking with Aaron Mora, our head tech here at Airsoft GI, he's talked about how reliable this gearbox is. And I think you guys should look forward to a video we're going to have coming out with Aaron, because he's going to go over the finer details on what makes this gearbox and this gun itself so amazing and such a departure from a lot of other things on the retail market for Airsoft. So I'm really excited for the release of the Krytac CRB. If you guys are interested in checking out the Krytac CRB, you're going to want to head over to our big summer sale. We're going to have one of these at the marketing booth for anyone who shows up to check out, test out, and just get all excited over this thing. So I'm really impressed. I'm really excited. I'm hoping to take one out to play with soon. Yeah. Daniel, the head of marketing here, got actually the opportunity to take this out to, I believe, Code Red on Saturday.
It was Hollywood Sports Park.
I was
there with him.
Way off. That's very
completely different
directions.
And yeah,
I wasn't there.
it's okay.
Yeah.
I forgive you.
Thank you. So, in the video that comes out, where Aaron does discuss the internals on this gun, we are going to have cut-ins with action footage of that, and I believe that's going to be released very soon. So look forward to that.
I'm looking forward to that. I want to see what's on the inside.
Right. Actually, one thing I did notice is the fact that on the gearbox itself, Krytac has engraved their logo, and that's basically just a testament to how much they stand behind their gun, is that every time you look at the gearbox, you're going to be reminded this is a Krytac gun. So that is dope, and I'm very impressed with them. So hopefully there'll be more of these to come out. I believe Krytac is going to be releasing guns throughout the year. The next ones they have slated to come out, I believe, are the Krytac Shrike. And I know Mark from marketing is really excited about the Krytac SR47, but that shouldn't be coming out until later in the summer. So really excited about this gun. I don't know if there's much else I want to say about it right now. Bill, you have any thoughts?
If they come out with an M16 variant, I will be so happy.
I believe they do. That should be coming out. But the CRB is probably going to be a more popular one, which is more or less why it's released first.
Yeah,
so.
Everyone likes CQB and like short guns. I like long guns. That's just me.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Actually, I think we're the only people in the marketing department that own the M16.
I think we actually are,
Yeah. So.
You have the original Tokyo Marui.
Well played, sir. Yes, I do. All right, well, make sure to look for this at the big summer sale once again on June 21st. It's coming up next weekend. And make sure to stop by the marketing booth. Check out the Krytac CRB.
It's sure to not disappoint.
Yeah.
Did I say that correctly? I think I did.
I wasn't paying attention.
Whatever. It's not going to disappoint you. It's awesome.
You want to talk about it at all?
No. Okay.
All right, Frank is quietly standing off to the side, making rude hand gestures and odd facial maneuvers. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. He's pretty good at not saying anything right now. All right, well, thank you for bringing that in, Frank, and thank you for jiggling the box behind our heads. Good talk. See you out there. All right, let's see if there's any questions. When will these bad boys hit the market? That's from Northside Operators. Cool name, by the way. It's looking like they should be hitting the market at the end of this month, but that's not guaranteed yet. But when it does happen, we will make that apparent both on our Facebook, Twitter, as well as Instagram, and more than likely on our website, because that's where you're going to buy it from. All right, so let's see if there are any other questions. You guys should donate a weapon to me. Yeah, I can't get that. Shout out to SJ Airsoft. Shout out approved. Let's see. Wow, I don't know what that is. All right, well, hopefully we'll get some more questions in a little bit that are worth answering. It seems like most of what I see here are statements, so we're going to go into something else. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the classes on Battlefield Hardline, which, as I mentioned before, is essentially a cops and robbers battlefield.
Awesome.
Yes. All right, so for the 4 classes that are slated to be in the game, and now I believe this is off IGN.com. It's the best news source at the moment that I looked this up. For Battlefield Hardline information, there's going to be the first class, which is Operator, then Mechanic, then Enforcer, and then Professional. Now, Operator is supposed to be the medic of the team. They're always on the front lines healing and reviving teammates. Their primary weapon of choice are the assault rifles. Mechanic is going to be the engineer of the team. They specialize in fixing friendly vehicles and destroying any vehicles, and their primary weapon will be carbines. The Enforcer is the support arm of the team. They specialize in covering fire and supplying ammunition, and their primary weapon of choice will be the light machine gun. Then there's Professional. The Professional is the sniper. They specialize in relaying information to the rest of the team, i.e. reconnaissance, as well as providing sniper support, and I'll bet you guessed it, but their primary weapon of choice are
The sniper.
Bingo. All right. Also, game modes for Battlefield Hardline include Team Deathmatch. Deathmatch. Wow. Turf War, small and large. I'm not exactly sure what Turf War is.
I think it's going to be kind of like a
Control point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or like
that
where you
actually-
hold the like different points in the game.
Yeah, similar to Battlefield 4, 3,
yeah.
2. Yeah.
All of them.
Also, there's going to be Heist and Blood Money. And from what I've seen of Heist, essentially the cops will be protecting like an armored car or another section of the map that has money in it. The criminals will be trying to break into that with explosives, and then once they break into it, they can steal the money, and there may be multiple teams of criminals going for the money, but once they get the money back to a certain location, they will be they basically have to reach a certain amount of money before they win the game, like let's say $2 million. And the cool thing, which I've been informed by other folks who've been playing Battlefield Hardline already, is the fact that you can actually steal money out of the opposing criminals, basically their stash. So if they're almost at $2 million, you can run over their stash and just take $200K out. So that's pretty dope. So it's pretty interesting. I mean, Battlefield is going, a different way than most of the games going. A lot of folks are going into, futuristic warfare like Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and Battlefield is bringing it back down to, the home turf with law enforcement and whatnot. So that'll be interesting.
Definitely. It's something like I'm looking forward to it because it's something different in the sea of future warfighter shooter games. It's something different on the market, whereas most of the stuff is, like, oh, okay, it's like 2025 and the world's at war again, and you're a future soldier, stuff like that. I like the fact that it's going with the cops and robbers, something completely different that no one has really done before. I mean, they've kind of had like where you're a bad guy in GTA, but honestly, it's not a shooter, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think most of us here in the marketing department that play video games are, because, we do like a lot that DICE has done, with the exception of the netcode on Battlefield 4. All right, Nash Ward is saying, you mixed up Blood Money and Heist. I hope I didn't, but maybe I did. I'm sorry. But I would highly suggest, in case you like more information on Battlefield Hardline, go check out IGN.com or a variety of other video game websites out there. Highly specifically, I would like to mention Level Cap Gaming, because he has a lot of good information on Battlefield Hardline. In fact, he was one of the first people to try it out, specifically on Twitch TV, which is pretty dope. All right. Oh, Commander Mode appears to be included in Battlefield Hardline, which is pretty cool.
Interesting.
And it looks like there's going to be an in-game store. You can buy weapons and gadgets similar to Counter-Strike Go.
Interesting.
Sick. All right.
Ooh, and a baton for melee.
What could go wrong?
Beat someone.
Yeah, actually, I heard that it's possible to actually interrogate someone. Like, let's say you go up, you tase them, and then you handcuff them. You can interrogate them and find out basically where all their friends are within like so many meters.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which would be kind of cool.
I'm gonna say a lot of people are gonna be yelling, "Don't tase me, bro."
That was too easy.
I know.
That was too easy.
It really was.
Other gadgets and accessories include deployable cameras, gas grenades, laser trip mines, breaching charges, grappling hooks, possibly zip lines, gas mask, crossbow, riot shield, blowtorch, decoys, and tasers. All right.
Oh, I was like, what? Where are we going with this?
No, we're going
I'm a
nowhere.
little late.
We are going nowhere.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking of how awesome a grappling hook is going to be.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about in Battlefield 4. What's the one where it takes place at like a hotel or like a resort, and everyone always camps in the center building that's the tallest one?
Is that Hainan Resort?
I think so. The one where there's like the crashed ship in the corner. Forget what it's called, but that one. You know how awesome a grappling hook would be on that? You wouldn't have to get up there through that stupid elevator or a helicopter.
You're trying to use grappling hook in real life?
No.
Not nearly as easy as video games make it look.
Batman does it.
Yeah, well, it's a movie.
Don't even care. It's Batman.
Okay, good talk. All right, let's see if there are some questions to answer. Gosh, it looks like today we're getting mostly statements. All right, well, if anyone has any questions, feel free to mention them in the comments. Shout out to Tact5 out of Chicago. I think you mean Tact5, but I'm going to say Tact5 just in case. Tact5, your shout out is approved. All right, sorry for the lack of shout outs. Daniel normally has a list, and he is not in here today, but Airsoft Arena in Milwaukee is getting their shout out approved. All right.
Everything's loaded now.
Whew. One other thing I would like to mention is that we do have an East Coast stop coming up that we are sponsoring and working with X-Zone Virginia on this with. It's called Operation Reaper Venom. Now, Operation Reaper Venom is going to happen on Sunday, July 13th at 6 a.m. Eastern Time at X-Zone in Chesterfield, Virginia. Now, what's great about Operation Reaper Venom and essentially X-Zone as a whole is the fact that they do a lot of work in the community. In fact, most of their games, they bring in money for X-Zone, which they in turn disperse out to the community through a variety of programs that support children as well as adults in the Chesterfield, Virginia community. So they give a lot back to their surrounding areas, and that's why, like, that's part of the reason why we like working with them so much, is that, you know, a lot of the money goes to a great cause. So, speaking of that, it looks like, let me read, oh, maybe I didn't put this on here. Shoot.
Well, who's going to?
No. Oh, that's right. The 100% of the proceeds for Operation Reaper Venom are going to X-Zone Virginia, which, like I mentioned before, gives back to their community, and also Hugs for Heroes, which is a really great charity. So if you guys are looking for a new operation to go to on the East Coast or in the Virginia area or just on the East Coast in general, I highly suggest checking out Operation Reaper Venom, and you can check it out by going to events.r20.constantcontact.com. Now, in case you are curious exactly what that was again, so I don't have to say it, let me see if I can
see if you can. I think I know what you're doing. Yep, let's see if it works. Focus, come on, focus.
Come on.
Almost.
Got it. No.
I think it doesn't.
Nah. There we go. All right. Events.r20.constantcontact.com. You can check that out and go to register for Operation Reaper Venom. Highly suggested. The folks at Airsoft GI, GI Tactical, Airsoft GI East, are going to be out there for Operation Reaper Venom. All right, Michael Andres, boxers or briefs? You want to say it at the same time?
Yeah.
All right, now, not on three, but 1, 2, 3, say.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Briefs.
Boxers.
I knew that was going to happen. Okay. I knew that was going to happen. All right. All right. What is your favorite support weapon? This is from Johnny Appleseed.
Ooh.
Do you have one already in mind, Bill?
I actually kind of do. After holding it a lot today, I really dig the PKM.
Ooh, yeah. The PKM is a really good weapon.
Just because I don't know, something about it's an ugly gun. Let's be honest. Compared to like any of the saw type weapons, the M249, it's an ugly gun. But that's kind of why I like it. It's just ugly and mean, and it means business. I really like the PKM. What about you?
You know, it's a tough one because there are a lot of support guns that I really like.
Minigun doesn't count. Because that has to be mounted to something.
He didn't say that.
Well, no, I'm saying it's not.
There are CQB miniguns.
I'm talking about like in real life. Not, are we talking airsoft?
I assume we're talking Airsoft.
Okay, if we're doing Airsoft.
Show,
Then if we're doing Airsoft.
Yeah. Okay, so if we were talking just Airsoft, I mean, the bread and butter that I like are the saws, just because they're really iconic. I do like the Special Ops kitted out M60s, but does add a lot of weight to the gun. I'm trying to think. Is it Mark 46? It's the saw with the rails on it?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. That would be probably one of my favorites, but hands down, top of the favorite right now, not counting a minigun, Bill, would be the 240 Bravo. I really like the 240 Bravo. It's a really good medium machine gun. I really like how it looks mounted, and I really like how it looks when you're prone. So I think that's a dope gun. I would totally take one out if I had one, which I don't, which I probably change in the near future.
Totes my goats.
Yeah, totes my goats. I'd really like to get one that has a really good set of recoil. That's one thing that I find that's missing from a lot of these support guns is like, I want to feel like I'm rocking and rolling on those guns, but just most of the ones that are on the market right now, I don't feel like that. So
you almost need to find like an old like GBB one and convert it to a Daytona gun.
Yeah, that's true. Although I heard that, with Project X from Polar Star, that might be a foreseeable option of, dropping a Polar Star or Project X one. Yeah, that would be dope. So that might be really fun and worth getting. But nowadays it's weird because of all the different innovations in the airsoft industry, it kind of cuts down on the specializations that other classes have. Like with a support gun, it used to be that not many people could carry, that much ammo, so the support guns were very useful. But now when you have like C-mags or other big magazines for M16s or M4s or anything else, like just about everybody can...
Fat mags.
Yeah, fat mags can hold the same amount of ammo as a support gun, thereby making, all that extra weight not as useful. But you do look really badass when you're carrying a support gun.
You do. You really do. Yeah. Think about Spencer in the Tac Gear Heads video for Battlefield 4.
Yeah.
He looked really cool.
Yeah.
Totes.
My goats.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's my choice on support guns, but let's see if there are any more questions for us to talk about. Shout out, please. I am begging of you. Northside operators, your shout out is approved. All right. Did you want that? Did you want? Okay, why are we whispering? No. Okay, let's stop. Okay. All right. Well, okay. So one thing that has come onto the website at GI pretty recently. Why am I leaning over so much?
Yeah, you have a rolly chair. You can just roll around.
I can't roll around.
The cord.
Okay. Okay. So we have these new sets of oil for our. I believe these are for gas blowbacks.
Am I missing the light? No, lights.
No, we have.
All right, cool. We got all the weights.
Okay, so we recently started carrying murder oil on our website, and there we go. And what's interesting is these come in a variety of different weights and viscosity. Obviously, this is heavy and medium, and that is
medium and light.
But what is it just smaller amount?
Oh, yeah, you could get in 2 ounces or 1 ounce.
Oh, that's dope.
Depending on, for me personally, I'd probably get like a 1 ounce one because I only have GBB pistols. But someone like Bob, who runs an LM4, would probably want a larger bottle.
Yeah, it's interesting because when we just started getting this in, Aaron, the head of our tech department here, I was having some issues with my LM4 because I basically dropped it in just powdery dust, so the whole thing was gunked up. And he looked at me with complete disgust, like, Bob, do you ever clean this gun? I was like, sort of. So he helped me clean it out, aka did most of it, and he actually put in some murder oil, and ever since then, my LM4 has been functioning flawlessly. I was so happy because I actually took it out to Operation Reclamation 3, and I really didn't want to use anything other than the LM4, and I was low crawling, I had it in dust, I had it in a lot of mud, and it still continued to function. So I'm actually now a big believer in murder oil. We now carry them on our website, so if you're looking for some new oil for your gas blowbacks, I would highly suggest checking out this murder oil on our website. And as Bill previously mentioned, it comes in both the 1 ounce and the 2 ounce containers in both light, medium, and heavy, and as you can see on the product, it is 100% made in the USA.
America.
Come on, focus. Focus on it.
America?
No, on the...
America.
Stop it. Okay, well, whatever.
Well, I saw it said made in the U.S. It focused enough.
No, I wish it focused better. Anyway, but it's really cool also that there are different colors of oil. So.
I'm curious what weight works the best.
Yeah, if we had Aaron in here, I wish he could tell us.
Yeah, he'd tell us, because I want to get some for my pistol.
Mm-hmm. Actually, this is a very good question. Spencer Jack. Bob, do you think that DMRs are OP, aka overpowered? They're difficult to face in the AO I play in. Do you know any tactics to maneuver around them?
Ooh, very good question.
Good point. I don't necessarily think they're OP. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on the DMR setup you have, because we did a while back and went to Operation Irene. Josh, who was formerly a worker here or employee here, had DMR set up from the tech department that cost, I think they ended up spending about $2,000 on this DMR, and I can't remember exactly what was in it, but I do remember it had an Orga barrel, it had a Polar Star setup, and if you guys aren't familiar with Orga barrels, is that the specific one he had was a wide bore, so that using the HPA setup on a Polar Star, it provided a cushion of air around the BB. So normally, if you have an extra long barrel, it can increase the propensity for the BB to bounce around in there. But having a cushion of air around it means that it's not going to have that. You're going to have a perfect clean shot going out the barrel. And I believe Josh is using .40s, and he was hitting people at, gosh, I would say like 120 yards. I mean, it was ridiculous. Maybe 100 yards. There were people that were waving at us, so sure that they were out of range, and then when they got double tapped in the chest, they were just floored.
Like, dude, what?
They're like, what the hell happened? So that was really fun to see. Yeah, no, and it's funny because we'd have to be like, yeah, that was us. Hey, I'm a spotter. That's the guy that shot you. DMRs can be OP. It depends on who is using them and what they're using, because if you have someone who's a really good shot, but they've got a gun that doesn't shoot well, obviously they might not hit. Or if you have someone vice versa, it may not work out that well. But if you get both a good player and a good gun together in a good environment, that can be a problem. So one thing I would suggest personally to screen your movement is using smoke grenades. Smoke grenades works really well if you are wanting to screen your position. One way that I've seen people misuse them is that they will throw them and not let it build up first. So they'll throw them, get really excited, and then run right through the small or paltry amount of smoke they have, and it really doesn't screen their movement. So what I would suggest is using 2 to 3 smoke grenades, like the Enola Gay smoke grenades, that you can throw out, let the smoke billow up, and then you can move behind it. So that is something I would do. Otherwise, I would say move within your effective range, have someone put fire on it, and then maneuver around that person with the DMR. Okay. Go hard, ride hard, Airsoft. Bob, are you going to ever come play Airsoft in Michigan or Ohio, or have any events? Yes, we are definitely looking into having events in the Michigan, Ohio, and essentially every state in between or on either side of it. So we're definitely looking at that, and hopefully we'll have some more events to talk to you about in the future. Currently going on, we already have an event on the West Coast for July 12th and 13th, Assault in Antioch. We have an event on the East Coast we're sponsoring, Operation Reaper Venom, and we should be having some more events both on the East and the West Coast coming up, in addition to working on more events on the places in between, essentially the rest of the country. So, actually, I want to hear your thoughts on what you think about DMRs. If they're overpowered, effective tactics to use against them. What are your thoughts, Bill?
My thought is, while they kind of seem overpowered in an airsoft environment, the thing is, though, in reality, a DMR is supposed to have more range than a standard assault rifle anyway. So, in that sense, you almost have to use, the same tactics that you would counter a sniper with in real life. So, like Bob said, smoke grenades are great if they allow them. Southern California, for the most part, we don't, because everything catches on fire. Other than that, generally, I found probably what the best way to kind of handle someone who's out of your true effective range is if you get enough people shooting that direction, even lobbing them enough. If it's enough to make the sound of, the BBs hitting the wood or whatever they're taking cover behind, they're going to duck. And at that point, that's when you want to, shoot and scoot. You want to try and shoot. Once they're ducked down, move. Then if they start pinning you down, you have to do covering fire. You almost have to use the same tactics that you would in real life. It's just engagement distance are obviously not quite as far as they are in reality. But it really does, though, depend on the operator, the gun, and if the stars align to hit some of those really far shots. But I mean, I don't think they're really that overpowered. They serve the purpose that they're meant to.
Someone asked a question that caught me off guard because I honestly had to think about it. Andre Hakimian, would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 20 duck-sized horses?
That's an awesome question.
Yeah, I'm going to take you seriously because that is an awesome question. I personally would rather fight 20 duck-sized horses because I have hunted ducks since I was 12, and I know how big they are. And I could take on 20 horses about that size, I think. I don't think that'd be a problem. But a horse-sized duck would be a much, much different story. Because
That's terrifying.
Well, the thing is, most people don't know this, but there are teeth, or basically razors, on the inside of a duck's bill. So, you know, if they clamp onto you, you're going to be not sitting pretty. So,
yeah, I'd do the same 20 because you can kick them.
oh, well, you could do
Drop kick them, punt them.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I like that question.
Okay, yeah, that was a pretty good question. Okay, question: vertical or angle grip for an M16? Well, that is a very good question. The number of Fear 6, because both Bill and I have Airsoft M16s. Bill,
and mine's over here.
Bill, I'm going to let you go first.
Well, I've actually had a lot of questions about this because it was in a video or something that I forget. But this one right here is my personal. Let me see if I can get the frame. Personal M16 as the barrel's like meh, meh,
That's behind
in
me.
the Bob's head. As you can see, I run a angle foregrip. I actually find it is a lot more comfortable to grip on a longer weapon because I like having more of a straight grip while holding the gun. Other people, though, I mean, I don't like a vertical grip. I don't know. I just don't like that angle. It's more of because I've shot real AR-15s with them, and it actually, in terms of control, it helps, but it's just a more comfortable grip to me. But, yep, angled foregrip all the way. That's my personal preference.
I actually don't agree with Bill. I just have an opposite opinion or different opinion. I prefer the vertical grips, and part of that is because when I got my M16, you know, those were the issue pieces of kit for the United States Armed Forces, which is what I was going for. I was trying to recreate a U.S. military loadout. But also, you know, after playing with the M16 in a variety of environments, including CQB, I find that using a vertical foregrip allows me to fire around corners a lot easier than I normally would if I had an angled foregrip. And that's from a technique that a friend of mine who was in the Marines, still Marine because there's no ex-Marines and no former Marines, but he's now in the U.S. Army Reserves, is that you take the vertical foregrip as if you're shooting like this, and then you move it around and you put your thumb on the trigger, and then you look around the corner. That cuts down on the length of the rifle and allows you to go around the corner a lot easier.
Never thought about that.
Yeah, and that's not an airsoft technique. That's a technique they do teach some people in the military. Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work with an angle foregrip.
It doesn't work with an angle foregrip. But the thing is, like, you do that for airsoft so that, you know, you're also presenting a target because you can't blind fire, at least as far as most of the fields, almost every field that I've been to. So you do that technique, and you'll be able to go around the corner a lot easier when you're using a full-length gun.
I'll have to try that next time. I know it's a little bit more difficult with this, but it might still.
Yeah, but if you come into like a sharp corner where you think someone's on the other end, that's a really good technique to use. Also, another reason why I like vertical grips is the fact that if you get a grip pod for your M16 or full rifle, you're going to be able to have a much more stable platform to shoot from if you are prone. The grip pods, while they may not look the coolest, they are very functional. And grip pods also are a really handy-dandy way to be able to put your gun, to be able to rest your gun on the battlefield without getting it dirty. Essentially, you put the grip pod out, you basically activate the grip pod, and you can set it down, and it'll stay in as if it's in a prone position, and it won't fall over, so you won't get any dirt inside the gun.
And while I'm not a fan of vertical grips, the thing is, though, with the grip pod, I will say this, it does save weight, because I used to have a bipod on the front of this thing, and I took it off, and I was like, oh my god, that was like an extra pound of weight that was on that thing. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. You have a look of shock. Is there another good question about ducks and horses?
No. Don't say this one out loud, but this is really confusing.
I
just want to say...
I don't even... What?
I just want to say, Spencer Jack, that is both a very confusing and very interesting question, so thank you for putting it out there. I'm not going to repeat it just yet.
So
all right. All right. Bob, have you ever shot a real gun, and what is your favorite real firearm? Very good question. Yes, I have shot a real gun. I've actually had a real gun in my hands ever since I was 10 years old. I've been shooting shotguns ever since I was that age. I would say my favorite... Oh, man, that is actually kind of a tough word.
Are we going to go off of what we own or what we would like?
I'm going to go off of what I've actually fired.
Okay.
Why don't you discuss yours first?
Okay. God, it's tricky because I have so many. I've tried a lot of different ones because there's one range that I go to that rents firearms. I will say this: I have gotten to shoot a Barrett 50. That was a lot of fun to shoot. Definitely. But something practical that I could actually own in California, Springfield Armory M1A.
I would like to own an M1A. Although, if I could choose any gun, you know, I really like the 240 Bravo. Because I fired a 240 Bravo, and it was a joy. I actually like firing the 240 Bravo more than I like firing a SAW or an M249. So, yeah, I would have to probably go with the 240 Bravo or a 240 Golf if I felt like it. One thing I haven't shot yet, which I really want to, is a Ma Deuce, the Browning 50 cal. Yeah, exactly. Oh, let's shoot 2 hands.
I have my
unacceptable.
busy.
Unacceptable.
No, I'm that good. I just use one hand.
No. Okay, shout out to Wasteland Warriors. Your shout out has been approved. And you are located in Lakeside, Montana. Great team. Check them out on their Facebook page.
There you go.
Okay. All right, so I don't believe we have too many more things to go over, but I would like to actually ask you, Bill, out of the few classes we went over for Battlefield 4, or excuse me, Battlefield Hardline. First of all, we had the operator, we had the mechanic, we had the enforcer, and we had the professional. Which one do you think you would be?
I think I would run operator because it's similar to the assault class, and that's actually my favorite class in Battlefield. And I'm actually one of the only people that, when I play, goes around healing people and reviving them. Everyone else is always playing engineer. It's like, oh, I gotta blow up the helicopter, and then you know who comes and saves you? Me. So if you're playing Xbox Live and you die and you get revived by me, you're welcome.
Getting on your soapbox there, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah. I actually would likewise choose operator because I do like being the medic of the team. I do that from time to time, but it's funny because my favorite thing to do, in all honesty, is being the engineer. I love shooting down helicopters. So that's...
Only if you use an RPG. No lock-on allowed.
Okay, well, look, I like stingers just because I like stingers. But probably the thing I find myself most doing is I really like repairing vehicles so that we can keep going. Because, you know, when I play with my friends, you know, we'll be playing, or at least on Battlefield 4, you know, I really like the assault boats, or just the boats, essentially, in the game.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
And what's really funny is if you have a full team on boats, and you're running around, and at least one person, this guy, is repairing, you can do a lot of damage and keep on going, even though you've been hit multiple times with missile launchers, with let's say, rounds from a helicopter. You can keep on going. Well, sometimes tanks kill you in one hit, but yeah, essentially you can be a very effective team on those boats in Battlefield 4.
I need you on my team, then. I love flying the scout helicopter. I love just doing strafing runs with that, but problem is I get the stingers, I let go the flares, and then the guy's like, oh, well, I got another one. It's like,
yeah, they can shoot right after. And that's why I think, like, I've been seeing a lot of the players that are more experienced and they fly those helicopters. They use, I can't remember if it's chaff or something else, but
the clouds, right?
The clouds, yeah, because it goes on for a while, and you use that extra time that it's dispensing the chaff to get behind cover. But what I really like doing is I'll sit in the scout helicopter, which I do like flying those. But I'll sit there and I'll basically go back and forth between repairing and shooting a stinger at other helicopters. So basically, like, awesome. Yeah, the person flying a helicopter will be gunning down ground targets. I'll be just covering their ass with the stinger on other aircraft. So it's a pretty good team effort, and it's really fun to do. So. But I normally play PC when I play Battlefield 4. Do you play Xbox?
I have Xbox, yeah. My laptop is nowhere near powerful enough to play any of those.
Yeah. No kidding.
One thing I have learned, though, with the helicopters is a lot of people don't know when to deploy their countermeasures.
Very true.
Very true, because they just hear like, beep, 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 deploy, and it's like, joke's on you. I'm just going to wait a few more seconds.
Yeah, that's what I do. Is I'll lock on them with a stinger, and they'll deploy their flares. I'm like, man, you are stupid, buddy.
Just got to wait for the right noise. Once you get a right noise, it's like, deploy, dive, dive, dive. Hide in the building.
Hide in the building. All right, let's see if we have any other questions. We only got a few more minutes left. Are there any Airsoft shooting FPS games? That is from Jesus, the Savior 3. Now, as far as I know, I don't believe there are any Airsoft first-person shooter games. And in fact, yeah, there are some paintball video games, but all the ones I've seen were made poorly and looked like crap. So that's probably the same comment, just reset.
Honestly, if you want like a FPS that's Airsoft, just play an FPS game, because that's essentially what it is.
Yeah, I mean that is essentially.
There's just blood that sprays.
You respawn and all that stuff. And it's really funny because I go out and play, like, let's say, a Game Pod Combat Zone, and then I desperately want to get home to play Battlefield 4, or vice versa.
Yeah. No, it's the same thing. I'll go Airsofting for the day, and then like, man, I really want to play Battlefield right now.
I really want to do this.
Because like this thing, my Battlefield gun is exactly the same.
Oh, really?
I built it the same. Like this scope, if you remove like all the extra rails and stuff, it's the same as what's that one? It's not the
ACOG?
ACOG. No, it's not the ACOG. The other one that's a 3.4 zoom. It's the same scope. If you remove that, it's the exact same. I can't remember what
It's not an
called.
LCAN, is it?
Is Elcan the one that's on the saws?
Yeah.
So, no, it's not that one.
Okay.
It's one that, but it's a 3.4 times zoom, and even the
Hammer
reticle is
sight?
the same. It might be. I'm not
Okay.
sure. I'd have to honestly look it up in the game. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And I have the angled foregrip.
Woo! We did it. Okay, it looks like we're coming up on our last 4 minutes. Someone was asking me earlier about whether they should get a Tavor they're looking into bullpup airsoft guns, whether they should get a Tavor or an L85, and whether they should get one or the other based on parts or how available it was to upgrade. And for that specific reason, I would highly suggest the Tavor because as far as I know, and I'm not the best person to ask as far as tech goes, Mark or Aaron, the head of our tech department, would be. From what I know, I believe there are more internal upgrade parts or internal replacement parts available for the Tavor than there are for the L85. That said, British loadouts with an L85 are dope, but
They are.
also that said, I have met some folks from the IDF, i.e. Israeli Defense Forces, that know how to use the Tavor, and they looked likewise dope and awesome. So I would highly suggest either of those guns. If I had to pick personally, I would probably choose the Tavor because I like the look of it, I like the feel of it, and I've seen some of my teammates rock and roll with it. So that's my opinion. Do you have any thoughts, Bill?
Honestly, when it comes to internals, I think I might actually go with the L85. While a lot of them do have their own kind of like specific gearboxes, there are specific parts available, whereas right now I think the Tavor, while it's like a modified version 2 or version 3, but there are some proprietary parts in them that are basically you can't get. You'd have to get something else and try and modify it. That being said, I'm going to take a different road, and I'm going to go with an AUG. It's bullpup.
Judging.
Whatever.
I thought they were cool when they came out, but I think over time when other guns came out after them, I was like, an AUG.
Yeah, I will
AUG
admit
just reminds me of
Tavor's
that.
cooler looking. It is way cooler looking.
Just when I think of the AUG, I think of like VH1. I miss the 80s. Like that's what I think of when I see the AUG.
It's true.
So yeah. Really quick. Shoot, someone had an interesting question. Hera Sopimiton. Interesting name. Bob, what's your KD in Battlefield 4? Now I'm going to tell you what my KD is because I respect our audience so much, even though I'm embarrassed to tell you. My you know what KD is, right?
Kill to death ratio.
Bingo. It is 0.92.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I think that's mostly because I do often, in fact, more often than not, play classes where I'm supporting other players, like medic, like you were talking about. I like going up and medicing people or healing them because it's a lot of points. And also it is really fun, being that repair dude to keep the team going because there have been so many times where, like, if our vehicle had blown up, we wouldn't have done half as much damage as we ended up doing. So that is pretty fun.
It's not always about the KD ratio. It's about winning the game. That's the way I look at it. It's like if you have, it doesn't matter. If you win, they'll be like, oh, your KD's lower. Yeah, well, you lost, so suck it. That's what I'd say about that.
Okay. Yes. All right. So, the show is about to end. We got about 1 minute left. So I just want to remind all our reviewers to check out our big summer sale on June 21st, starting at 10 a.m., going all the way till 5 p.m. We are going to have the Krytac CRB out there for you to test out. We're also going to have the Tippin M4 for you to test out. We're also going to have 23% off in store on select items, and we're also going to be giving away thousands of dollars in giveaways. And once again, I'm going to be in the dunk tank along with Chris Bass from Warfighter Airsoft. So make sure to check out our big summer sale once again on June 21st at 21077 Commerce Point Drive, Walnut, California 91789. I am shocked I remembered all that.
Good job.
God bless America. All right, that is going to be it for our live show on June 17th, 2014.
See you guys.
How do I turn this off?
The X. Oh, that button.